Welcome to the Ringer NFL Show. I'm your host, Sheil Kapadia. Today, we try to figure out what's real and what's not as we look ahead to week 3. A little game of Do You Believe? And to help me sort it out, it's my friend from The Athletic, one of the best in the business, Mike Sando. And Mike, I got to start by telling you one thing I do believe because I was doing some research today, and this is going to catch you completely off guard. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. The Colts mascot, Blue, is the best in the NFL. Did you see him during last week's game? Do you know anything about the legend of Blue?
I do not know anything about the legend of Blue. Too many games probably going on at the same time. What I can picture something vaguely. What did Blue do?
Yes, the Colts game. We're going to talk about the Colts today. We're going to talk about a couple other teams. End of the Colts game. The Colts missed that field goal. He collapses to the ground. I mean, he stands right at the goalpost. Gets back up, they call the penalty, they make it, and then he does like the pelvic thrust of the Philly Fanatic. I don't think they're related, but I would imagine he was inspired by the Philly Fanatic at some point in his life. So yeah, big weekend for Blue. I was going on a deep dive, Wikipedia, Instagram, best mascot in the NFL.
And I think it's key that, let's face it, Blue hasn't had a lot of things to thrust about in recent years. So to be ready to thrust early in the season,
yeah.
I mean, these guys probably study film of the other mascots, they're like, I want to do some thrusts, and he can finally do it. So he's ready.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, Blue. You did it. You did a nice job last weekend. So we're going to talk Colts, we're going to talk Bucs, and we're going to talk about Chargers. Some kind of early season surprises, what we're seeing. Do we believe it? Do we not believe what we're seeing? So let's take a break. We come back. We talk about those teams. This is the Ringer NFL Show presented by FanDuel, and the NFL is officially back. So if you're going to be in it with FanDuel. They've got the goods, futures, live betting, SGPs, your way bets, all of it. The app's clean, it's fast, and yeah, when you win, you get paid instantly, which is nice because Sunday patience doesn't exist. So get your bets in, build something bold, and make every game feel bigger. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/RingerNFL to get started. The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available, and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Paid endorsement. All right, we're back on the Ringer NFL Show. Let's get to it. Do you believe? That's the name of the show today. Item number 1, Mike Sando. Do you believe in the Indianapolis Colts, and specifically the Indianapolis Colts offense? So they're 2-0. You and I like the nerd stats, they're first in EPA per drive. They're first in success rate. Daniel Jones's numbers are through the roof. Do you believe what you're seeing with the Indianapolis Colts so far?
I believe they're going to be a lot better. This is totally unsustainable. I stacked all of the Colts offenses through the Peyton Manning era, by EPA per play. And this would be number 2 to the 2004 famous Colts. That was like maybe one of the best offenses ever. So if we stack all of the offenses full season, since 2000, there's 800 and some offenses, and they're like right after the 2013 Broncos, the 2000 Rams, and the 2011 Patriots. So that is not happening. But I do think, before the season, I thought, okay, Colts and AFC, Seahawks and NFC are two sort of mid-level teams that are being underrated a little bit because of, let's face it, no one's going to get super excited about Daniel Jones or even Sam Darnold. And there's some questions of moving on from Darnold, but you can run your offense with Daniel Jones. So I do think that I would say this, I think they have a good chance to be, possibly in the top half of the league offensive EPA. I could see that being for the season for them.
And that would be a win. I mean, I wasn't bullish on him. I was, one of the people you're probably talking about, like, man, they're getting crushed. I just thought, we've seen Daniel Jones, and I know it was in a different environment, and I kind of like the supporting cast, but I just felt like he's had all those injuries. And there was a version of Daniel Jones earlier in his career where I said, I see the tools here, like in the right situation, he can be a good quarterback, but this version of him after those injuries, are we still going to see that guy? So this is one where my eye test and sort of the analytical part of my brain don't agree on this, because I feel like the eye test, I've watched the first 2 weeks here, Mike, and Shane Steichen is in his bag. I mean, beautifully schemed up, explosive plays. Tyler Warren looks great. Jonathan Taylor looks great. Michael Pittman Jr. Like, they have a nice group of pass catchers that do a bunch of different things. And then I'm giving, like, Jones has looked good. It's not just everything schemed up for him. Like, he's making throws under pressure. He looks healthy. He looks comfortable. And so I'm looking at part of it going, the AFC South is bad. The Texans don't look great. Could they be some version of last year's Vikings with Sam Darnold, where it's like this quarterback who was getting beaten up got in the right situation, and maybe they do really overachieve here?
Well, I think definitely in the division. So Daniel Jones, one of his big issues, he is not consistently accurate. Okay. And so he still isn't this year. I mean, shoot, he turns quick game, throws that to the right side, and it goes, he's thrown to Shaquille O'Neal cannot catch this pass, So he had a wide open touchdown, up maybe the right kind of seam, and he just sails the guy in the end zone. So it's not like he's been just completely on point, but I think he's consistent enough for Shane Steichen to be in his bag and get some results. And I think what we're seeing is just how hard that was with Anthony Richardson. So if you look, I've got a little filter in our True Media, Sheil, where it's just all the quarterbacks by the different air yards bands. And so I was looking at like Flacco and, if you go to start of last year, Flacco and Daniel Jones, they complete 75% of the less than 10 air yards, right? 75%. Well, Richardson's 60%. Well, that's a big difference, because so much of your offense is like, that area of the field. So just hitting 15% more of the layups keeps some drives alive. You're going to get, someone's going to make a play after the catch and go for 20 yards when you're not expecting it on 3rd and 4, right? Those things just, you're not as limited. I think he still limits you because he's not amazing. But guess what? Trevor Lawrence ain't consistently accurate either. CJ Stroud is coming off of a tough year last year, still doesn't look so great this year. So why not Indy? Why couldn't they? They've been close anyway. Like, I do this thing every year before the year, and it's like I pull these people in the league and we rank the teams in each conference 1 to 16. And one of the great comments was, the Colts just always seem to find their way, no matter what, to be like within a couple games of 500 or something. There's like this gravitational pull with them. So I think they've raised their floor tremendously by just being able to, maybe the metaphor is, complete 75% of your layups instead of 60%.
That's right. So that's the bullish case. I think we've given the bullish case. Now I feel like there's another end of this where we remember last year, the New Orleans Saints through 2 weeks of the season, everyone's really excited. Derek Carr, Clint Kubiak. Oh my gosh, this offense. And part of me wonders, are the Colts just going to be that type of team? Because Daniel Jones, previous 3 seasons, I mean, statistically, has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. And like you mentioned, the outlier season, man, you just go to the Pro Football Reference page and look at every column, and it's like, outlier, completion percentage, yards per attempt, any stat you want to look at. It's like, he's never been anywhere close to this before. Even in 2022, his career year, Giants go to the playoffs. Like, I think he was around 12th in EPA per play. So it's like, he was a little bit above average. So part of me wonder, and so that's where I settled, not to go negative right away, but when I have to answer, do you believe, what's more likely, that they're really good, let's say top 10 type offense, or that they're a version of the 2024 Saints? I go more 2024 Saints, but I think you laid it out. The most likely outcome is probably somewhere in the middle there, where they're competing for a playoff spot in December.
And remember, with the Saints too, they were 5-5 when Carr started. Obviously the wheels came off. They played a lot of games with super limited quarterback play too. So I can totally see that Daniel Jones is not amazing, right? But I do think Shane Steichen, and you know this better than me because you're in Philly, but I think Shane's good, and I think it was just a little bit too hard for him last year with, the super talented quarterback who can't really run an offense yet.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely he's got to be loving this more than previous years where it's like, hey, at least for the most part, the ball's going where it's supposed to. So the durability thing, you mentioned it with Carr, it's been a big thing with Jones too. Has started 12 games or more in his career 3 times. So that's something to keep an eye on as well.
I'm worried too because he got freaking blindsided on one. I was going through all these plays, it was a scramble and it was like, don't get down, please. That sort of a thing. So
no doubt about it. All right, let's take a break. We come back and then we talk Chargers and Bucs, both teams coming off impressive Monday night wins. Do we believe? The Ringer NFL show is brought to you by FanDuel. Football fans, every NFL Thursday is your chance to hit the jackpot on FanDuel. Because with FanDuel's Thursday touchdown jackpot, you can win a share of $2 million in bonus bets each week. To get in on this Thursday's action, all you have to do is place an anytime touchdown scorer bet before the game between the Dolphins and Bills kicks off. And if your player scores the first or last TD of the game, you'll win your bet plus a share of bonus bets. So this Thursday, any play can be the play of the game with FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com/Ringer NFL for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt in. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last TD pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. All right, back on the Ringer NFL show. Item number 2, Mike. Do you believe in the Chargers as real AFC contenders? So 2-0 to start the season. They host the Broncos on Sunday. Offense performing pretty well. Defense, very impressive performance. Monday night, can they make that leap? Because I think right now we could say if we had to pick playoff teams, most people I think would have the Chargers in there. But can they make that leap to no, this is actually a team to watch out for in the AFC?
I think they can win. I think they'll win a playoff game this year. I think they'll get over that hump. I'm not in that conference. I mean, look, we don't know if Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are going to go, how far they're going to go, because these teams got to play each other and play Mahomes when they're good. So I just like what I'm seeing. And I'll tell you, I think we were wondering coming into the year, or especially, seeing last year, like, how's this mix going to be with Jim Harbaugh, 3 yards cloud of dust, Greg Roman, super run offenses with Justin Herbert. And the first 2 games, and even towards the end of last year, they're way more pass oriented than we thought they were going to be. And I do the Cook Index, which was kind of making light of Russell Wilson let Russ cook. And all we're looking at is how often do you pass on the early downs before the 2-minute warning in the first half? It's kind of your neutral passing. And they're over 75% in the first 2 games. The next team's like 65. Yeah. The league average is like 53. So that, and if you look late last season, maybe when Herbert was a little healthier and they were getting a little more confident, there were some high games too. So here's my stat. The Chargers, 420 games since 2000. Their first 2 games this year rank 6th and 9th in the Cook Index for how often they've passed. And they've had Phillip Rivers flinging it around with North Turner, and they've had guys who threw the ball, and even Herbert early in his career really threw the ball. So, I think I don't know how you go back to putting the lid on the offense when now it seems like they've got a few more weapons, and your quarterback's gained some confidence, has a couple nice wins early. I think the win in the opener was huge from a confidence standpoint for them. There's been something missing with Justin Herbert. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I think there's a little bit of mojo gained when you win against Kansas City, and now you're actually putting the ball in his hands. It's like a vote of confidence to me.
Yeah, it's so funny. During that Monday night game, I think they were talking about, Chargers want to run the ball. And I think all the nerds were like, no, they passed the ball a lot at the end of last year. And in week 1, they passed the ball a lot. And that's what they're doing. A lot of play action on early downs. And like you said, putting the ball in his hands. And it's looked good without maybe a great offensive line, without a great pass catching group. I would say other than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, just the quarterbacks through 2 weeks. I mean, I think Herbert's right there with anyone. And then the defensive side of the ball, I mean, Jesse Minter has to be on the short list of right now best defensive coaches in the NFL. I always like to just look at the talent you have and are they overachieving, achieving where they should or underachieving. And I just look at that depth chart and I'm like, I like Derwin James. I like Deion Henley. He's emerging as a star. But they don't have, top 5, top 10 talent in the NFL, and they've been maybe the best defense in the NFL through 2 weeks.
And if you go to the start of last season, I was just looking at this, and I included the playoffs. The Chargers are 5th in defensive EPA per play. And guess what? Seattle's 7th. Those are both the Baltimore guys, Minter and McDonald. So there's something about these guys. They know what they're doing. It seems like to me. They've got good defenses.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're flexible and they I don't know, you hear stuff like they know how to teach a bunch of different things and not overwhelm the players, those types of things, right?
Like think of this. The Chargers before that had a defensive coach and they were like bottom 5. Yes. And the Seahawks were bottom 5 with Pete Carroll for years, the last few years. And now you're all of a sudden you're in the top 10. You can't tell me that's not coaching.
Yeah, no, they've done a good job. So I think I'm kind of with you with win a playoff game. I'm a no on real AFC contenders. I'm not quite there yet just because I look at the talent and it's like, I don't see an above average offensive line. I don't see an above average defensive line. I don't see an above average pass catching group. Like if they make noise in the AFC, it's going to be a very impressive coaching job. And that's possible. Or it's possible that, like you said, with Herbert, this is just a year where in those big moments or in those big games, things click. So I think they have that ceiling, but I can't quite get there where I'm saying I'm putting them in kind of that top tier in the AFC.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last one. Do you believe, Mike Sando, item number 3, that the Bucs are real contenders in the NFC? What do you got?
The last 3 words in the NFC make it a little bit more possible. Yeah. I have felt like they're sort of in a tier of their own where super high floor, you can put them down for 10, 11 wins. But do I think they're going to push all the way through? I kind of don't. But in the NFC, I think there's a different path. Like if we were to say, who do you like better, Tampa or the Chargers? Well, if the Chargers were in the NFC, you might believe more, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like
no
you
doubt.
might say, hey, I think they can go to the championship game. So, but I have felt coming into the year, you sort of had, Philly, Green Bay, and depending on Detroit, maybe if their coordinator situation isn't a disaster, that those were kind of the top 3. And then I put Tampa sort of in its own tier there where I feel safer about them than I do about, let's just say, San Francisco or Washington. There's a couple of those types of teams that have gone further in the playoffs recently, but have some real question marks. Like, I don't know if they're going to do it. I feel like Tampa Bay's safer than that, but I'm not on them enough to put them above those top 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'm a yes on this one, though. I think I'm a little more bullish than you. And I wasn't there before the season. I thought the hipsters, they were like, the Bucs are the sleep. And I'm like, everybody settle down, on the Bucs. They didn't even win a playoff game last year. I thought that win Monday night was one of the most impressive wins it's only 2 weeks. I don't want to go overboard here, but through 2 weeks, that was one of the most impressive wins of the season. You don't have Tristan Wirfs. Your right tackle goes down in the first quarter. You're going up against a defense where the Texans at times, it feels like they got 14 guys out there who all want to rip your head off, by the way. It's just like the most violent unit in the NFL. And then you face adversity down the stretch. You lose the lead. 2:04 left. You're down by 5. To go 80 yards on 11 plays, and I think they had 1 3rd or 4th down in there. Like, it didn't actually look that hard to go right down the field. And just overall, that was, I think, a 84th percentile offensive performance by the Bucs. 25 first downs against that Texans defense. So I looked at that and I thought about the questions I had coming into the season about, hey, you lost Liam Cohen, Josh Grizzard. I'll be honest, I knew nothing. I knew very little about the guy. You probably knew stuff about the guy. And I thought, all right, I don't know that this is going to work out for the Bucs, but the way they move the ball offensively and then a veteran defensive coach, I kind of think they have a chance to make some noise against some of these teams that are talked about top tier in the NFC.
I say they have a chance too. I do. I'm just not going to favor them. Like to me, I think they would lose to a Green Bay. That type of a team is a little bit better, but I'm with you that I think they can advance in the playoffs. And, as far as the coordinator thing, I mean, when you keep being good on offense across all these coordinators who had never been coordinators before, maybe you just have a good team. Maybe they just have a good offense and they have a good quarterback and they don't have terrible coordinators. But, Dave Canales, Liam Cohn, Josh Gardner, they're probably, one of them's probably really good. One of them's probably average. One of them, right? It's not like they can't all three be the key to Tampa Bay being good. I think it's really impressive. Defensive head coach Todd Bowles is just setting on offense like, hey, here's some general parameters for how we'd like to play. He's not like running it. So I'm super impressed over a 3-year period because it looks good again with their ability to just be good. I think they're an underrated kind of organization even. To just keep sort of being good and be able to replace quarterback Brady and then have to be able to do deals with Mayfield that aren't at the exact top of the market and stuff. Like, I just feel like they've got a great thing going. So total respect for them.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. After the Brady era, to just kind of not miss a beat. And it's like anybody could have taken a chance on Baker Mayfield. They did. And to your point, you're right. We keep trying to look for like, who's helping Baker Mayfield and this offense. But it's like, maybe he deserves some credit. Maybe the infrastructure, the offensive line, they have a good situation there. Or maybe Todd Bowles just has the best eye for like offensive coordinators in NFL history. I don't know, but I wanted to ask you, like Mayfield specifically, you do the great quarterback tiers piece every summer. Everybody reads it. What is the view of, because I get the sense that like people in the NFL just like really like sort of what he's about and his personality and the intangibles, maybe more so than we see on the outside if you're just looking at the numbers or watching the film or whatever.
I think that's true. I think they do really appreciate his story, number one, of bouncing around and just sort of persevering. There's so much talk in the league about the league does a disservice to quarterbacks and, hey, they need a better plan to development. Well, look at this guy. He overcame it, right? He's overcome some tough situations over the last couple of years when he's in Carolina and his career was on the rocks. So you do have to totally give him credit for that. I think also he's a little bit more under control now, like finding that line. He kind of has the wild man, but it's in a little bit of a more professional context now. I don't feel like he's as apt to blow the game. It's still going to happen twice this year, where he throws a killer interception trying to fit one in there. But I feel like he's kind of got the right amount of letting it all hang out, maybe like just a little bit more under control wildness. So, is that just maturity or, accountability to his teammates there, whatever it is. I think that's notable with him too.
There's also little stuff that this time of the year where we overreact, and I'm guilty of it right now. Just when I was looking at the Bucs earlier, it's like, all right, if the Falcons make a kick in week 1, if the Texans don't have a disastrous red zone sequence in week 2, what are we talking about? And I think you're right about Baker with that line is, there are going to be weeks, it might even be this week, where he throws like he leads the NFL in turnover worthy plays that Pro Football Focus tracks. He's got 6 of them through 2 weeks. So it's like, if guys came down with a couple of those interceptions, are we having a different conversation? But I do feel like the end of a game, not that I thought he was going to score, but it feels like he knows what he's doing out there. He knows what he's looking at. He's going to let it rip. He's got the personality. Teammates like him. So yeah, I'm more pro Baker now maybe than I was a little while ago.
Even though he's not an elite talent, he's the number 1 pick. So it's not like he's, it's not like he's some late round success story. I mean, he can throw the ball. Now, he's scrambling to the right and drops the ball. He almost gets his teammate killed, diving for the ball. So there's always going to be some sort of things like that are a little wild. Yeah. But the other thing was, how about them going for 2 at the end of the game? I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like taking hits and throwing the ball. I'm like, do you realize it goes the other way? You lose the game. And that's all we're talking about for the next month. Would you just take a knee here? So they lived on the edge a little bit there. But 2-0, pretty good. And they have a history of being good.
Yeah, I think quarterbacks forget that sometimes, that the 2-point conversion, you can't, this isn't like a 4th down where you're like, it can go the other way and you can
There's 6 seconds left in the game. What are we doing here? You afraid they're going to drive for a field goal?
He's entertaining though. You're right. It's an adventure with him, but if he's on, in terms of that tier of quarterback, I don't know that many of the players in that tier are more entertaining than Baker Mayfield. So I like this team. Tristan Wirfs, get him back. Chris Godwin, get him back. They haven't even been healthy. It looks like they hit on Igbuka, the wide receiver. So I think they're going to be a team to watch in the NFC. And Mike Sando is a NFL writer to watch. You can read him in The Athletic, the Pick 6 column every Monday. And then he does Poor other guy. He's just churning stuff out. Then he's doing big projects on the side. So we all read him. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Sheil. Always fun.
All right. I'll be back in a minute with the hurry up. All right. The hurry up is our closing segment where I give you a take on news in the NFL. And we have a big Thursday night game here between the Bills and Dolphins. Now, it's not big because the Dolphins are a threat to the Bills in the AFC East or anything like that, but it's big because of Mike McDaniel's job security. Miami Dolphins embarrassed themselves in week 1 in Indianapolis. Then they lose a close game in week 2 to the Patriots. And McDaniel came into the season with probably the hottest seat in the NFL. If this team goes to 0-3, it's really hard to see a scenario where they battle back and are relevant this season. So that doesn't necessarily mean they would just, hey, we're going to fire Mike McDaniel because we're 0-3. Optics matter with this stuff. And I do think if it's a national TV game, it's an island game, if they get embarrassed and players are sounding off or looking frustrated on the sideline or Mike McDaniel looks lost, if those types of things happen, then who knows? The truth is you should never make a coaching decision based on one game, but we all know how owners operate and they care about that kind of thing. So that's something to keep an eye on Thursday night against the Bills. So this franchise is just in a tough spot. Tyreek Hill, I believe, is a prime candidate for an in-season trade. They're tied to Tua through at least 2026, but that deal was signed with the idea that he'd be paired with McDaniel. If Tua plays in another scheme for another coach, a different type of offense, different supporting cast, who knows what it would look like. So just zooming out, it's kind of an underrated train wreck of a franchise. 5 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win in the last 25 years, bad ownership, bad front office. And they got to be thinking, if we move on from McDaniel, what is our path forward? There is none. There's not a clear path forward for what they should do. So because of that, I personally sort of think he's going to have a longer leash. I think if they just lose this game, it's not that big of a deal. Again, if it's an embarrassing loss and there's stuff going on that's making the team, the organization, the owner look bad, then everything's in play. So interesting sort of, other than just win or loss on Thursday night, interesting sort of side story in Dolphins Bills as we take a look at the landscape of the league and look at some of the coaching situations specifically with Mike McDaniel. So that's what I'll be watching Thursday night. We'll be back to talk to you tomorrow on the Ringer NFL show. Appreciate everyone listening. Thank you to Christopher Sutton for producing. Kiera Givens on social. Additional production supervision by Conor Nevins and Arjuna Ramgopowell. I'm Sheil Kapadia. Talk to you tomorrow. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. Or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.